So we're here today hosting a workshop along with the England Economic Heartland, looking at the opportunity for MaaS in the area and also how it can go about solving some of the problems that we're facing. Now, MaaS is an incredibly powerful thing with a lot of potential. What we need to do is to make sure that we understand the problems that we're looking to solve with it. Essentially what we're talking about with MaaS is a new way of delivering mobility options and transport services that gets people out of individual car ownership and car usage and towards a more intelligent version of transportation in end-to-end journeys.
Mobility as a service aims to make the life of travellers better by reducing the friction involved in current journeys. At the moment you have to integrate your own journey. You have to understand what the various ways of getting to destination could be. You've got to chain them together, you've got to work out timetables, you've got to buy tickets, all sorts of complexities involved in planning journeys, and if something goes wrong, it's on your shoulders to fix it. Mobility as a service promises to reduce the friction in these journeys, to make seamless journeys where we can travel on a variety of modes. Systems will help us to understand what the best way is to get to our destination. We don't have to worry about how to pay, that'll be handled for us. That means easier journeys, better journeys, and from the provider's perspective, we can do a better job of modal shift, helping to reduce the carbon footprint, reduce the pollution load, generally speaking, deliver better outcomes for the same money.
So why I'm interested in mobility as a service is not just the economic opportunity of the whole offer, but also what it can actually do to tackle many of the long-held social issues that there are associated with transport. So today, for instance, we discussed around rural isolation and how it's a challenge to run mobility services in an environment where there's low demand and there's a high cost of providing it. And mobility as a service, it provides an opportunity to use technology to experiment with new mobility services which increase the travel choices and the ability of people to get to and from key services we all take for granted, like healthcare and food and those sorts of things, but at the same time deliver it at a level of cost which is either at its current level or ideally below. But until we actually trial this out and we deliver this technology in a new way, then we simply don't know what it'll do. But it's very exciting.
I think we have to be careful that this is not a buzzword. If we look back through time, we've had ITS, Intelligent Transport Systems, for many, many years. And a little bit's happened, but not much really happened. And it became a little bit of a word that people didn't want to use anymore. So now we all jump on the bandwagon of intelligent mobility and connected transport. And this has been going on for a little while. And is stuff happening? Yes, stuff is happening, but not fast enough. And I think now we're working on a bandwagon of mobility as a service. And in essence, it can work very well and actually start to alleviate a lot of the social, economic and issues that we have in travel. But it's not the holy grail, and I think that's what we have to be very careful of here, because we've got to take into account human factors, human behaviours and attitudes towards travelling. And although mobility and mobility service could help alleviate that, I don't believe it's going to be the be-all and end-all of travel solutions. For instance, we have diverse communities, rural, we have urban, we have international travellers, we have regular travellers, we have irregular travellers. And we have to start to change actually the whole way that we travel as a country to start to alleviate some of those challenges and issues. But where mobility as a service really does work is somewhere, and this is what I'm very excited about, is it's starting to unlock the modes.
By combining all the various public transport offers that are out there, you provide a much more coherent and better offer to the user. So I think it's a much more user-focused solution, which means we can start to try and nudge people out of their cars and onto public transport. Hopefully it solves one of the biggest problems, which is ticketing, which again is a massive barrier to people moving from public transport to away from their cars. And if we can do that in Oxford, that really gives us the impetus to carry on with our approach, which is really around demand management, implementing things like zero emission zones, and getting people away from their cars. So we've already started to do that park and ride, but we still have big problems with people driving into the city in different parts of the city, and we want this to be a solution that works for the whole of the county as well. And we think possibly be trialling in the urban areas initially. You could build a MaaS platform that would be applicable for the whole of the county, and then we'll even start to tackle things like rural isolations, and we'll combine that into things like the services we provide through adult social care and NHS, and how we move people around to access all our other services. So it's potentially the golden bullet.
Okay, so it's been a great day. I personally have learnt a lot, and I think it's been great to get all of the authorities from the different parts of the EEH together in a room to sort of start to discuss some of the key challenges that we will face. So out of this event, hopefully what we'll be able to do is to consolidate some of the learning, some of the writing, some of the bits and pieces that have been captured on the boards, and I'll be working over the next couple of weeks to try and pull that together in a sort of a white paper. I'm hopeful that all the organisations who've been represented today will be able to go back to their own local authorities and start to have conversations about how they want to shape MaaS going forward. From the white paper that I've pulled together, and with the conversations I'll continue to have with the partners, I'll be developing something that I can bring to the next Transport Officers Working Group, and hopefully to get a bit of a steer from that group of how we can go forward.